Welcome back to the Aussie Game Podcast, where we talk all things Australian football. We're sneaking in a midweek podcast because between Sunday when we recorded, there's been plenty happening. So we're going to touch through a bit of that. We're also going to have a look ahead to the A-League weekend coming up, and we're expecting a Socceroos squad to be announced tomorrow as well. So we'll share some thoughts on that too. Mop is here with me. How are you, mate?
Yeah, good evening. Derby weekend too for the A-League. There's a few derbies this weekend, so exciting stuff. But let's crack into it. Let's go with Sunday night, Chief, because there was an absolute scorer fest on in Holland.
Absolutely. It was Aiden Hrustic starring for Heracles in their 8-2 win. He picked up a man of the match performance. He also had the most chances created, most dribbles, most tackles, and most duels won. So very pleasing to see Aiden Hrustic back in some form. Heracles, we know, have struggled to start the season, but what an incredible win against one of their, well, hopefully it's not a relegation battler, Heracles, but certainly a team down the bottom of the table in the Eredivisie.
That was a crucial 3 points. It was a relegation scrap because Zwolle, they're only 3 points behind them now, and Zwolle has the 16th position. That is safety. So they climb Heracles with a second win of the season, only 3 points behind them now, and a cup win during the other week too. Hopefully that'll give them the confidence and they can climb up there. Excelsior is on 10 and Valdrum's on 10 as well. So they're not that far off now after a bit of a dire start where it was looking where they had 8 defeats there in a row. So they're back in it, and hopefully the confidence is restored. And it's just great to see. Hrustic's had a great year there, so it's looking positive for him either way.
Yeah, and looking, in my opinion, when he is fit and firing, he's one of our best for the Socceroos, and we don't always see the best of him in a Socceroos jersey, but look, if he can bring this kind of form into camp for this upcoming window, be all the better for it, the Socceroos.
Yeah, we know how dangerous he can be, and he scored a great cracking goal the previous week in the cup game. So we know how dangerous his set pieces are as well, which having him and Erikunda over the ball, so gives us plenty of options in attack. He probably doesn't have the speed as what the other two do, but technicality, holding the ball in possession and controlling tempo is one of his strengths. So that's definitely what's needed in the soccer is in probably that next phase that probably Popper's looking for.
Yeah, a bit of debate on where he sits in the Socceroos system, whether it is one of those more defensive midfielders or one of the more attacking positions. We might get into that when we look ahead to the Socceroos squad. But let's have a look at some of our Matildas that were in action on Sunday night. Let's start with Winnie Heatley, whose Roma have had a fantastic start to the season. Heatley kept a clean sheet in Roma's 3-0 win. So Roma are now 5 points clear at the top with a perfect record. So what a start to her Serie A career for Winnie Heatley.
Yeah, getting lots of exposure over there. Champions League as well. They've had those tough draws with the top teams, Real Madrid and Barcelona. So they'll be looking forward to a better tie in a few weeks' time, whether they can get some points on the board in Champions League as well. But certainly look good in the league and really finding consistency in her game. And she's starting, and she's definitely up for grabs in the Matildas starting 11 around Heatley. She's damn close, whether she's that centre back or ball playing midfielder.
Yeah, completely agree. Let's have a look at the WSL. So we had 90 minutes for Claire Wheeler in their 3-3 draw with Aston Villa. We also had 90 minutes for Charlie Rule. Unfortunately, her Brighton went down 3-2 to Manchester United. And we also had 90 minutes for Claire Hunt as Spurs beat Liverpool 2-1. So it's what we want to see. We want to see our Matildas getting those consistent minutes, and you can't ask for much more from those players there. As we head over to Arsenal, Cooney Cross didn't even make the bench. I mean, this one, not sure if there was a particular reason,
She
but
was ill.
Steph Catley and Caitlin Ford both started.
Yeah,
There you go. Okay.
yeah, she was ill, mate.
Um,
Medical report come through. She was sick and yeah, couldn't make the side.
Fair enough then. Arsenal beat Emily Van Egmond's Leicester 3-2 with Van Egmond picking up an assist in that one. And then just quickly in Sweden, Courtney Nevins Malmo, they lost 2-1, which officially ends their title hopes. But it looks like Ivy Luik's team probably going to win the title. So congratulations to Ivy Luik, and let's hope that they can get on with that. But I think they just need one more win to secure. So I'm great for Ivy Luik.
Yeah, great story, isn't it? She's the stalwart. She's what a fantastic way. It'd be interesting to see what she does next year, whether she continues to play on over there.
Yeah, 40 years old, mate, still going
I know.
strong.
I love it. It's just such a great story, and what a role model.
Absolutely. All right. Yeah, early on Monday morning, unfortunately, the big story, or one of the two big stories that came out, was Alessandro Gicardi taken off injured in the 40th minute, and later confirmed that he's ruptured his ankle and will be out for 6 to 8 weeks. So absolutely devastating for Sicardi. He's made a great start to the season for Parma, become an important part of the Socceroos team as well, but he's set for a couple of months on the sideline.
Yeah, he's had such a great start to the season, and obviously got the Socceroos captaincy as well there, and for a few games. But yeah, the injury curse has caught up with a couple of our Socceroos, and look, it's unfortunately they'll miss 6 and 8 weeks, but we wish him well in his recovery, and we look forward to seeing him in the new year.
Silver lining, mate. Do you think that maybe a rest before I know no one's going to plan this, obviously, but do you think that a bit of a rest before the World Cup might do him a bit of good?
Oh, look, he's young. It's probably, it's never good to have an injury, but the timing of it, at least for the country side of things, not at a crucial time. But his club, it is, because obviously they're, battling for survival over there down the lower mid tables. So it'll be a huge blow for his club because he's started every week. He's been pretty fit. So that last year he had an injury as well, leading up where he was rested after Japan. Rest him for Saudi Arabia, but he seems to pick up these niggles. But you're playing at the top level, you're gonna cop these kind of things. So it's unfortunate for him, but yeah, he's at least at a young age where he can heal quick.
Yeah, I mean, obviously different injury, but came back from that ACL last season and came back in quick time. So let's hope he can recover quickly. And look, again, silver lining, at least we're not in the middle of World Cup qualification where we're
Yeah,
only going into these games as friendlies.
100%, and it'll just give opportunities to Hayden Matthews and players that would have been in the squad consistently but haven't had much game time.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. In more positive news, Mo Toure scored a double in Rander's 3-2 loss for Viborg. Paul Izzo also played 90 minutes in that one. So, I mean, this guy, Mo Toure, his upward trajectory just keeps going on and on. He's been linked to some clubs in recent times. And if he keeps up this goal scoring form for Randers, no doubt he's going to continue to be linked with some clubs.
Yeah, they're high commodity, good strikers, and it's not only clubland he's doing it. We've seen it for the Socceroos how well he's done, and the good thing with Toure is he's staying fit and he's staying healthy and he's balancing it out. He hasn't copped up, he's had a couple of knocks there, but they're only been minor, and yeah, his body's starting to adapt, I think, and hopefully he can continue to build on that. We look forward to seeing him in the Socceroos squad hopefully tomorrow when it's announced.
Absolutely. All right, Matty Ryan, he made 5 saves, but unfortunately conceded a late goal as Levante went down 2-1. So busy boy, Matty Ryan in goals for Levante. But look, it's similar to what you're saying with Sicardi. It's all about survival for Levante in La Liga.
Yeah, they were a
Um,
bit unlucky though, Chief. They went down to 10 players, debatable red card for Levante. And Levante had a chance to go 1-0 up with a penalty, but they missed it, was saved. Matt Ryan made a double save there just before the goal. But unfortunately, that corner from that second save led to an absolute bullet. He wasn't stopping that. And unfortunately, yeah, the amount of pressure that with only 10 men, losing, a player in that first half really told on Levante, and that was probably a point probably dropped for him because they were right in that contest, unfortunately, with that missed penalty.
let's go to our boys at Viking in Norway. So 45 minutes for Gianni Stensnes, played the second half, and 13 minutes off the bench for Nick D'Agostino as they won 2-1. It was an important win as well because they're now 1 point clear at the top. I think they're in front of Bodo Glimt with 3 games to go, and looks like they've already booked their place in Champions League qualification. So really cool for Stensness and D'Agostino to be part of that, and hopefully they can hold their place at the top and continue on all the way to the title.
Yeah, they've got the advantage, haven't they? And Bodo Glint's in Champions League, so they're doubling up. So it's probably taken a toll on them, and they're just hitting it fresh. But well done, and hopefully, yeah, with 1 point clear. It's another Aussie in a title race right at the end, isn't it? With Muscat over the other side.
Well, two of them there at Viking. So yeah, let's hope. Yeah, they can get across the line. 18 minutes for Haley Razzo in Eintracht Frankfurt's 4-0 win. Got another FA Cup one for you, mate. Port Vale won 5-1 over Malden and Tiptree. Ever heard of them?
Well, mate, I loved your notes. That's what I had to look them up when I seen you put them in, and but you're all over it. 7th tier of English football, but that's a top win for Port Vale. Round one, and they're off, and they move into round two. But that's good on those. That's what the FA Cup's all about, though, isn't it? Going to those type of places. So, yeah, all the best for Port Vale in round two, and we'll see who they come up with in the next round.
Yeah, Joe Gash, played 90 minutes in that one. Over to Croatia, 15 minutes for Anthony Kalic and just the 6 minutes for Fran Karacic as they had a 0-0 draw with Slaven. This
Can I
guy I
ask you
really hate.
something with that? Do
Yeah,
you think these boys are going to be in the Socceroos squad tomorrow?
Kalic and Karacic.
Yeah.
Kalic, no. Karacic, maybe, given Italiano and Boss are injured. But otherwise, I'm not sure because since those two have been called up in that Soccer Ushers, their minutes have just fallen away, haven't they?
Yeah, that's why I've asked you the question because they got off to a flying start. Obviously that was recognised, but they've been struggling for time and obviously injury as well. Be interesting with the amount of injuries that we've got in the Socceroos camp, especially in defence, if he looks for those type of players.
Yeah, as I said, I don't think Kalic is in there, but Karacic, just given the couple of injuries I just mentioned, he could still be in the mix. But look, he's been called up twice and then pulled out twice, so
Yeah, he's
hasn't
been
really.
unlucky.
Yeah, he has. Let's go to the Netherlands, and this is someone I would like to see in the Socceroos squad, even if it's a bit of a long shot. Cam Pupion, again impressive in ADO Den Haag's 4-3 win, sending them 7 points clear at the top with the game in hand. Pupion scored a goal, created the most chances, and was the most fouled player in the game. Now, my justification for him being in the squad is that when you look at some of those players that have been called up in those attacking kind of wing type positions, I'm thinking like Milanovic, Arzani, Tilio. This is a guy who's playing. Okay, I understand it's the second division in the Netherlands, but he's playing week in, week out. He's performing well. These guys are getting fits and spurts off the bench, so I'm not sure why you wouldn't give him a chance.
This is the perfect opportunity if he's ever going to be picked. We'll know hopefully tomorrow. He definitely deserves it, like you said. The form's been there. They're top of the table. His football's been great. Probably doesn't get the plaudits because they're in a division below, but is developing nicely. And yeah, real top talent that we've got here. I'd love to see him unearthed. And like you said, we've seen Robertson being picked coming back from Cardiff. So this is another question mark. I think Popper would be a great timing to just have a look at him in that squad.
Yeah, as you said, nothing to lose really, and I think he's seen what the likes of Tilio, Arzani, Milanovic. He got some minutes in that Soccer Ashes series as well, so he's seen a bit of them. But really, the three of them, oh man, there's probably others as well, but they're not getting the game time. So yeah, why not give him a chance? So speaking of one of them, 12 minutes for Marco Tilio. Rapid, that was a good win though for Rapid Vienna. Sturm Graz were top before that game. It's pretty tight there at the top in Austria, but yeah, good win for Rapid Vienna moves them up to second in Austria.
Yep, but he'll be an interesting one. I know he got over to Rapid late, but he has been popping in and out of the squad. Yeah, it'd be interesting whether he does get back in. Like I said with Pepion, this is probably the camp, isn't it? It's probably the last one before I think next year, if in that last window, we'll probably see the last of the squads that he'll probably test out. But this is probably the last time for experimentation, I believe, in this year.
Yep. All right, a couple of our Matildas now. 90 minutes for Jessica Nash and 12 minutes off the bench for Jacinta Galabatarachi in Sassuolo's 1-0 loss to Fiorentina. So Jess Nash is another interesting one playing as a centre back. I think she's only about 22. So another one of these young defenders coming through that Joe Montemurro can have a look at. Clean sheet and 3 saves for Mackenzie Arnold in Portland's 2-0 win over Houston Dash. Caitlin Torpey also played 68 minutes in this one. So Portland are through to the NWSL playoffs, and they're going to take on San Diego Wave in the upcoming week. So, yeah, pretty cool for Arnold and Caitlin Torpey to be able to test themselves. These are just straight quarterfinals, one-off games, so different to the men's competition. But, yeah, great to see Mackenzie Arnold in particular. And, as we said with Tegan Micah, the more that the both of them can play and be competitive for that number one spot, it's going to push each other along.
Oh, the Matildas' depth and playing time, they're all at the good clubs and the right clubs, aren't they? They're really racking up the minutes. The competition's pretty fierce for this Asia Cup squad. The depth is there, so I'm really excited about leading into this Asia Cup with so many options and players that are just all playing football, all in good competitions, all at good levels, all throughout the world.
And just finishing off in America, Courtney Vine got 18 minutes off the bench for North Carolina, but her team was already out of the playoffs. So a bit of time for Courtney Vine before she gets some club football again. But it was pleasing to see her back in the Matildas squad. Let's go to Tuesday, mate. It was a huge win for Melbourne City, beating Makita Zelvia away 2-1. Andrew Naboo popping up with the winner deep in the stoppage time. But the man of the match by far, I think, was Patrick Beach. Outstanding, 6 saves, and it moves City into the qualification positions for the next phase of the ACL Elite competition. So it was a massive win for City, but also we know that those coefficient points are vital to get some more spots in Asia going forward. So the more wins we can rack up as a nation, the better.
Oh, this is outstanding, and this is crucial in the table with now 2 wins on the bounce there. Melbourne City, they're up to 6 points, 7th place. The top 8 go through out of the 12. They do have a tough game against Johor, which is the Malaysian champions. They're undefeated in Malaysia and had a good 3-1 win over Shanghai. They're second place at the moment, but if you look at the table, second place is 7 points. Melbourne City only 1 point behind them. If they can beat them, then they're right up there and probably consolidate the place and then go to Seoul after that. So it's been a long time since we've seen Australia club compete at this level and be successful. Melbourne City, how do you think their squad is going and can go? Can they go deep in this competition, Chief? Is there enough there for Melbourne City?
Well, I think the smart thing they're doing at the moment, and it's a bit risky, but there's heavy rotation through the squad between the Asian team and the domestic team in the A League. So this team that City put out the other night, I think the average age was about 22.8, and a lot of their kids out there had come through the academy. I think there was 6 in the starting lineup that had come through the academy and 9 that were used in the game. So, I mean, credit to Melbourne City for developing these players through their academy. And I think it's probably just what they're going to have to do. If they want to fight on all fronts, they're going to have to roll the dice a little bit. Hopefully, as you said, they can get a win in this next stage. And if they could, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves, but if they could get to a point where they could actually rest some players coming in, they got a whole list of injuries as well, Melbourne City.
Yeah.
So I think they're doing very well so far with what they're doing.
And the leaders, Vissel Kobe, they went right down to the wire, and that was away from home in their previous games. So, and they had a very young side there with a lot of experience out as well. So, their credentials and what they're showing for Australian football is fantastic. So, full credit to Melbourne City. We did preview and talk about how well they've done locking up their youth and putting youth all their belief in the youth and getting that right mix. And it's certainly showing on both sides of the A League and the Champions League. So we wish them all the well. It'd be fantastic to see these A League clubs do well in Asia.
And don't forget that it was a stoppage time winner through Max Caputo in their other win in the ACL Elite competition as well. So it's these fine margins that are going their way at the moment. So let's hope that that continues. And as I said, let's hope that they can get themselves into a solid position in the table and progress to the next round, because it is really important for the coefficient points that hopefully we can get more than just the ACL Elite and the ACL2 teams. We can start to get some more teams into these competitions, like the likes of China and Japan and Korea do, year on year.
Definitely, definitely. It's a very good point.
Speaking of China, unfortunately, Shanghai Port, Muskie's team, they lost 2-0 to Buriram United. Probably got an eye on the league, you'd think, mate. But Curtis Good scored one of Buriram's goals, which is a tap in from a yard out. But Shanghai Port obviously must be this weekend going for the title. So not sure if Muskie rests some players there, but you can understand if he did.
Well, the thing is, obviously, yeah, we all know it's all in for the China Super League, but that game, I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check. It's not till the 22nd of November. So the 22nd of November is 6:30 Australian time. That's when the next one is. As obviously we've got the international break. So imagine
Oh,
being a
yeah.
coach and trying to hang on for that long to play your final game. Oh God,
Sit still,
nerve
Muskie.
wracking.
Sit still. Sit still.
He's certainly measured his thought process, hasn't he, over the times? He's definitely got a lot of experience now in that one. But
Uh,
no, we'll have to wait till the 22nd of November, Chief, at 6:30, and I'm pretty sure all the games are at the same time. So we'll
yeah,
know
yeah.
at 8:30 whether we've got back-to-back champions.
Nice, mate. All right, let's go to Wednesday morning. Bit of action across in England. Callum Elder played a full game for Derby. Thought that was a bit of a Socceroos audition for him, given our lack of depth on that left wing back spot. But he had a 2-1 win over Hull City. Yeah, I wonder if this is an opportunity for him to get into that left wing back spot for the Socceroos, given Boss is injured, Taliano's injured, AH is injured, Farrell's injured.
That's now or never. But look at the he's done a fantastic job, hasn't he? Though, like a lot of people wouldn't know, but he was at he beat his former team, Hull City. He used to play for Hull City. He was there from 2019 to 2023. Played over 131 games. The good thing about Derby, and when he joined in 2023, again he's playing all the time. He's up to 59 matches there for Derby. Darby played the same pretty much system and blueprint as Popper. So he knows he's exactly in that space where he plays that Popper would be asking him to play if he gets picked. So there's a lot of advantage picking Elder. And, he was picked for the Socceroos. He debuted. He's had one cap in 2021. I'll tell you what, it's a good choice. He's an experienced defender at 30 years of age. I think he should be in the squad. And I'm sure a lot of fans agree he's in form, he's playing, and he should be there. And if he's not, I don't think we'll ever see him in the Socceroos again.
Yeah, well, it's hard to think of many names in front of him, to be honest. Like, I know that Kai Rolls has played in that left wing back position, but like outside of that option, like there's nothing really that jumps out to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you look at it, and this is probably one there's a lot of young boys over there in the English Championship at the moment. Now, he was over there with Leicester back in the 2013, 2019. He was with Leicester, but Leicester loaned him out 6 times across the board. So, like for the Hayden Matthews and the Daniel Bennies and that over there, it's probably a good opportunity to just get loaned out in that early 2021, 22, because in the championship, they very, very rarely promote too much youth. They're a lot about the old guys. Not old guys is probably the wrong word, but more experienced
Yeah,
physical type of league. Not all teams play like that. You've got different brands, but I really think that he went out there and searched for that football, and then when he was 23, 24, found his niche and then played every year. And I think he deserves to be rewarded for it. And like I said, I cannot see a left wing back, playing in the same formation as Popper that stands out that's going to be in front of him. I can't think of anyone unless I know Rolls is obviously he'll be the first choice, but to test Elder out, this is now or never. And I think it'd be great to see him on the international stage, all that experience, what he's learned, and put him on that platform.
yep. We'll have to wait and see. Socceroos squad announced tomorrow as we record this on Thursday night. let's go to Watford. Aaron Kunda came off the bench in a 1-1 draw against Ipswich, consolidating them in mid-table. My brother was pretty impressed about this one. Lewis Miller, another full game and a clean sheet. Rockets Blackburn. Did you write that note? Rockets
Yeah,
Blackburn up the
Rockets,
table.
mate.
Is
It's
it?
three in a row.
Um, After three on the trot.
Three in the trot, mate. They're on fire.
Um,
They were in relegation battle,
yeah, they are.
3 weeks ago, but now they're gone.
Do you know? Do you know who they're playing next though? They're playing Derby, and Derby are going for 5 in a row. And a little bit of inside word from my brother that there's about 3 or 4 former Blackburn players at Derby and their coach. So
Oh,
there's going to
that's
be
right.
bit of
Yes.
gonna be a
This
bit
is
of
the one
spice in
that
this one.
left. Yes, late last year. Who's got the home game?
Not sure, but
Oh, get
it's
the
going to be
extra
spicy.
security on. They've got a couple of weeks. They've got what have they got? They got international before they get in. Oh, that'll be huge. There was a lot of drama about that, wasn't there? Because he left Blackburn when they were flying, and Derby was like you said in relegation, and it
Yeah,
is back at Blackburn, Chief, on 8th of November. It's this week, 11:30, prime time.
yeah, yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Uh,
could be a fiery clash for both of our Aussies involved in that one. All right, let's go to Thursday. Swansea away to Preston. Mr. Consistent Cam Burgess starts again for Swansea, but unfortunately they go down 2-1. QPR, Daniel Benny was on the bench for QPR but didn't make the field. They went down 2-1. And then Portsmouth v Wrexham, Hayden Matthews back on the bench but didn't get any time on in their 0-0 draw. And then just to wrap, Thursday we've just seen the MacArthur Bulls win in their ACL2 match over the Vietnamese side. So that's a huge, just as we were saying for Melbourne City, that's a huge win. And it takes them actually to the top of the group. So it was a funny old game, bit end to end, bit chaotic. Saw one of the opposition coaches on the bench get sent off. We saw a player enter the field before the fourth official allowed him to, getting a yellow card. We saw Stefan Mork in the middle of plenty, as you would expect. So yeah, Kong and Hanoi, the Vietnamese side. I tell you what though, Mopper, looking at the broadcast, they must have brought about, or maybe they're expats, but they must have been about 1,000, 1,500 in the crowd, all dressed in their red and cheering on the
Really?
away side.
Okay.
So,
Wow.
yeah, it was amazing. So, fairly decent atmosphere there for Macarthur, which is great. But what an important win that is. Similar to Melbourne City, helps us as a league with the coefficient as well. So, yeah, we just got to keep moving forward in that direction. So, what a week for Australian football in Asia.
Yeah, that's great, isn't it? It's just been lots of positives. The Australian Championship, A League, and now in the Champions League. It's all on a positive front, and it's fantastic to see both clubs do well. And yeah, hopefully the competition will reap the rewards of their good form by that point system that you were talking about, because we all know how important that would be for our league if there's a couple of teams fighting it out.
Yep. All right, let's look ahead to the A-League men's competition for this weekend. We're kicking off with Friday night at Coopers Stadium. I love a Friday night at Coopers with Adelaide, who were impressive in their first up win against Sydney, but have dropped off. Definitely, they've had a couple of tough games, and they're playing the Wanderers, who are looking for their first win of the season. But as mentioned on Sunday, I think their first win isn't too far away. They've had a tough draw and they're looking okay, but no draws in the last 7 meetings between these two, mate. And yeah, currently running second last and third last. So what do you make of this matchup? What do you think is going to happen?
Oh, the advantage is with Adelaide. They're back at home. They've only been there once, and it was a great crowd. So there'll be a huge turnout tomorrow night. So yeah, but the Wanderers are hard to break. They've been a very, but probably been a bit unlucky. They've had a really tough start with the draw as well. And looked okay. If there's no draws in the last 7 meetings, then it's definitely going to be a draw. It'll probably be 2-2 drama, and yeah. But Adelaide at home, I can't see them getting beaten at home. But yeah, Wanderers are knocking on the door. It's not a good time to go away to Adelaide. I think with the Wanderers looking for their first win. But yeah, what do you think?
So you're going for a draw?
Yeah, 2-2. I'm going for a draw 2-2. You can hold me
Um,
account on Sunday night.
Wanderers 3-2.
Yeah.
I love a late goal there in Adelaide, whether it's for them or against them. So I think Wanderers are good for their first win of the season. So yeah, plenty of goals though.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Gloria Mariners. Yes. Glory at Mariners. What do you do there? Tom Lawrence out for Perth Glory, concussion rules. Mariners haven't kept a clean sheets in 18 matches. Perth haven't scored in their past two, and we're without a win. So, what did you text me during the week? It's going to be 5-all. Five, this game could be anything. Just for the neutrals, watch on and enjoy. But yeah, who do you pick in this? Well, honestly, I don't know where this match is going to go.
It's hard to actually know where Glory are at because obviously he's really sacked, but there's no new manager, so can't get a new manager bounce until that happens. So I don't know. Like they can be free scoring Perth, but they were pretty awful last week against Melbourne Victory. Although they had their moments, but yeah, I'm gonna go Glory, maybe 2-1.
Okay, righto. Yeah, look, I'm going to just throw a stab in the dark in this, and I'm going to go 2-all on this one as well. I
Ugh.
think, yep, I think Mariners and Perth, they're just too loose at the back. There's just, yeah, I just can't see. But yeah, good luck. Look, both clubs need it, don't they? Probably Perth Glory more, but yeah, how would you ever pick this result? It'd be almost impossible.
So what? Andrew Redmayne's in some good form for the Mariners, so he might be able to keep out a few. But yeah, as you mentioned, a few outs for Perth Glory as well. So we'll see how they set up. But yeah, still no word on their new manager as yet when we're recording now. Let's go to Saturday, mate. Derby Day, starting things off with New Zealand Derby. This one I feel is going to be very spicy. Auckland, 3 from 3 in the derbies last season, 10 goals to 2, the aggregate over those 3 games. But what about the Phoenix this season? Highest possession in the league on average, 63.3% versus what they were doing last year. It's crazy. They've got the third highest XG in the league, second for shots on target. Hiroki Sakai out for Auckland, which is a big out for them.
Yep,
Their captain
definitely.
and their right back. So, yeah, is it going to be a contrast in styles? Is Auckland going to sit back a bit and let Phoenix dominate possession, or Auckland going to get on the front foot a bit? So it's going to be a fascinating contest, particularly with the history of the derbies last season and Auckland really stamping their mark as the new club dominating that rivalry.
Yeah, I can't gauge Wellington yet. They've played Perth and Central Coast, and they both had draws with them. So I don't know. I think Auckland. I think they'll be shown out a bit, Wellington this week, and I think Auckland will, yeah, do the job on them. I think they'll be 2-0. Even without their right back, Hiroka, I just don't see it. I think Wellington will be found out for where they're really at this year.
Ooh, okay. I'm gonna go 2-1 Wellington. I want to see this. I
Oh,
want to see
not
this
a
derby.
chance. Not a chance. Anyway, hold me to that one on Sunday night as well. We'll see. But yeah,
I want to see this derby spark up. We can't just have Auckland dominating. We need it to be
yeah.
pumped up and exciting.
Hopefully they'll get a big crowd. Yeah, and if they get a big crowd, and you never know. But yeah, no, I think Auckland are just, yeah, they're a class above. But anyway, we'll see. Your
Unfortunately, I've heard that the ticket sales aren't where they wanted them to be because there's a few other things going on in Wellington
ah,
at the moment as well. So that would be
that's
a
no
real
good.
shame. That'd be a
Yeah,
real
it will
shame.
be.
Yeah.
Oh, let the best team win.
All right, Melbourne Derby to wrap up Saturday. So obviously this is the grand final replay. Back on deck potentially for Melbourne Victory are Roderick Miranda and Louis Dorigo. Matt Leckie is out for City, and Aziz Bay is still unavailable. As mentioned before, they've got a long list of injuries. Melbourne City, and of course, some of them are going to have to back up for their midweek game against Makita Zelvia. Victory have only beaten Perth so far this season, so, a bit hard to get a gauge on them as well. Though it was a pretty decent game they had against Auckland first round, but obviously, smashed against the Jets. So, really up and down so far, Melbourne Victory. So, how do you see this one going?
Oh, they've got the advantage with City going away. That's a big trip to travel and then come back into a derby. So Victory should have some advantages and should take advantage of it if they're any good this year. Again, we'll know this will be their silver lining test as well. But yeah, hopefully another big crowd in this one as well. And but City have got a lot of depth and they've got a lot of youth, so I don't think the fatigue is going to be too bad considering it's still early in the season. But yeah, that's definitely an advantage to me to victory on this one. I reckon victory will edge them late in this one, but yeah, it'll be a real good contest this one, and I reckon 2-1 to victory.
All right, I'm going to go 2-2 draw in this one, but yeah, let's hope it's a cracking game, big crowd, and a great atmosphere because yeah, we got to see a bit of that, and we have done, to be fair, in the last couple of seasons. Obviously, grand final last season, but the one before played in the finals as well, and yeah, obviously there is the rivalry of the city, but they're building up some rivalry, and we want to see it go backwards and forwards and not have one team dominate in these derbies.
Yeah, it should be a
Um,
big crowd though. Victory's home game, so you know that they'll have most of the support, you would say. So yeah, advantage to the victory, but as you said, anything could happen. City are playing well.
yeah, and a derby of sorts, I suppose. And first game on Sunday, Sydney FC versus Macarthur. So quick turnaround for Macarthur, having played just tonight. This fixture as well, mate. No draws in the past 7 meetings. Joe Lolly leading the league in big chances created, and Sydney the second top goal scorers, although more than half of them came against that in that game against the Jets the other day. And yeah, obviously MacArthur having to back up from the ACL2 commitment. So yeah, interesting tie for Sydney FC that they beat the Mariners last weekend or 2 weeks ago, and then they had the win against the Jets. So important to see if they can back that up against a good team in MacArthur.
If they're the real deal, Sydney, they'll need to stand up, and you know they've got a home game, and like you said, MacArthur's got to back up. Although the advantage with MacArthur is they didn't have to travel like City. They had the home game in the Asian Champions League, so that should be a at least a slight advantage that they didn't have to travel. But I think Sydney will be fresh and still too strong for MacArthur. They've impressed me in parts, MacArthur, but just haven't put it all together yet. And that's why I think Sydney will just rise to the top with the home crowd. But yeah, it should be nearly as close to another 12,000 for that one, with MacArthur being so close.
Yeah, that one's at Leichhardt Oval. So yeah, we saw those scenes at Central Coast Mariners with a nice full hill and plenty in the grandstand. So let's hope we see similar for that one. And yeah, not too far for the MacArthur fans to travel. So let's hope we see a good crowd. And it's interesting. They often talk about taking momentum into the international break. So if Sydney can get this one, that's 3 wins in a row heading into the international break. Because after that they play Melbourne Victory, and then they have the Sydney Derby after that one. So it would be, if they're serious about challenging up the top of the league, win this one, and then take some momentum into those big. Well, obviously both of them are rivalry games and traditional derbies. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens with Sydney FC. And yeah, MacArthur, they're just gonna have to continually juggle. As you said, they don't have to travel this week, which is fortunate for them, but it's just gonna be a challenge all throughout the season.
Yep. All right, let's move on to Roaring Jets. And isn't this a contrast of styles? You've got the attacking Jets versus the defensive mongrel Raw that they've been putting in, haven't they? They've been really doing the dirty work and upsetting a few teams with their style, but it's working. And Brisbane have got off to a great start. And we've seen highs and lows of probably the Jets. We've seen the strengths, what they did to Melbourne Victory, but then their contrasting defensive transition has let them down. So it'll be interesting. Raw don't score too many goals, and Jets will be on the attack. So solid versus free flowing. Which one is it, Chief?
Hmm. I think I think the Raw, the game's at Sunshine Coast, but I think the Raw are going to be pretty tough to break down. And I think you mentioned this last week. If Milligan doesn't address some of those defensive frailties for teams on the counter attack, because Brisbane are going to sit in and they're going to try and break, and they're going to try and break with speed. So if they can do that effectively in the same way that Sydney FC did last week, I think there's every potential for them to catch the Jets out. So it's probably going to come down to how efficient the Jets are in front of goal, and then if they're not going to keep it tight at the back, how much Brisbane can exploit that.
Yeah, and isn't it cool to see Sunshine Coast hosting this one? It'll be a massive crowd. You're tipping a sellout?
Well, they saying that it's the tickets are heading towards the seller. I think it's about 8,000 capacity there, and we know how well that was received in that preseason game when they had a fantastic crowd up there. I think it was about 6.5 up there from
Yeah.
memory. So, yeah, why not? And it's good. I'm sure that there's a few Brisbane fans that might have their noses out of joint a little bit for the game being taken away from the CBD area, but yeah, it's an opportunity to engage a new community.
Yeah, it's a great market down there, and we've got no real professional sport down there. A lot NRL's been out there. We've seen A League down there as well. So
I
there's a
think
huge
netball team, the Lightning, I think it's the only
netball,
one that I
yeah,
can think of. Yeah.
yeah, for the girls. So yeah, huge market to tap into, and capacity of up to 10,000 they can hold. So hopefully, we'll see 10,000 there. That would really spur Brisbane on though to get to play in that kind of atmosphere when it's full. So it might give them the edge. But I'm tipping a 2-all draw in this one as well. I think they'll share the spoils.
Is that 3 2-all draws you've gone for?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
I just I just can't see. There's no team that can hold the fort like Auckland. Yeah, that's so. I just defensive faulties in like every team that I've seen except Auckland FC.
All right. It's hard to I was gonna say 1-0, but I can't see the Jets not scoring.
Yeah, I
Um,
know. Yep,
so
agreed.
I'm gonna go 2-1 Raw.
Okay, yep. Well, good luck. Good luck, and glad to see the Sunshine Coast getting some opportunity, and I reckon that the Raw fans will appreciate that smaller stadium.
Yep. Henry Hall back for Brisbane Raw and Clayton Taylor back for the Jets as well. Before we finish up, mate, let's quickly touch on the Socceroos. Let's chat about we've kind of gone through it a little bit already, but is there anything that you're hoping for to see tomorrow morning from Tony Popovic?
Yeah, I hope Devlin backs up his squad selection from before, and I want to see him play some game time. It's probably the last time to probably trial and reach out. It'd be interesting. I'm really curious about whether Kai Truan or those players that were in early on in the World Cup qualification are actually part of it. Unfortunately for Bayic, he's injured, so we won't see him. But is Truan, Craig Goodwin, are they question marks, or are they in the squad reckoning, or are they in his thought process? And maybe probably in the back of my mind, what does he do with Robertson this time? He's reached out. Is he reach out again? So they're probably the couple of questions, because we do have a lot of injuries. So it's an opportunity for all those probably players to fit in the squad now, because we've got 3 or 4 out.
Yeah. We've obviously got those injuries at the back that we've kind of gone through. So not only new players in the squad, but new players in the starting lineup and getting minutes as well. We'll obviously see once we get closer to those games. I've already mentioned I'd like to see Pupion in the squad. I'd actually like to see generally in Popovic's squad players that are playing consistently and are in form get in the squad, as opposed to some players that just aren't. That we saw these ones. Arzani last time he was called up, for example, on the back of basically no minutes. So I would actually like to see a squad where players are rewarded for their form and rewarded for their consistent minutes. So I'm hoping we see that. I'm not too fussed about which league they're from. There might be a few A League players, like has Danny Johnro done enough in his couple of games so far for Melbourne Victory? Goodwin, as you said. So yeah, there are some ones that are around, but yeah, I just want to see given some game time to some guys who have deserved it. When you spoke about Elder the same, right? Like he's been consistent, been performing well all season for Derby and even back end of last season as well. So it's the perfect opportunity with so many injuries to give a guy like him a chance.
All right, I'm going to put you on the spot. Will Bullseye Battleado get his first senior Socceroo call up?
No, I would have him in. I would have him in as because if he's going to take something like 25 players, why not carry a couple of extra like that? Just to because the thing is, you're not going to when you're not going to see them until they're in the camp and get a close eye and get to know them, as we've seen with a few other players. So I don't think Popper will pick him. I would love to see him in there, but I don't think he'll be in there.
Okay, righto. Any of the younger brigade that you think would be a selection in their squad that he might test out? you've seen, like a Benny Caputo, anyone like that? Or do you think we're going the same and just trying to find the replacements for the injured players?
Well, I mean, it's interesting you say that because I don't think that if I'm going along the lines of players fit and in form and playing well, yeah, Daniel Benny doesn't fit that because he's not going to gain time at QPR. But maybe someone is a long shot, but maybe like an ovary. Like, why wouldn't you come have a look at him? You know,
Yep, I agree.
he's been
That's a good
playing
point.
training with the Man U first team. Like,
Yep,
if if a Premier League manager thinks enough of him to bring him into that environment, he's got something about him. So, and it's a problem area that we've got at the moment. We've got a lot of injuries. We don't have a lot of depth in those fullback positions. Seems like the
okay.
perfect time to bring someone like that in to have a look.
Yep, good point. All right, so it
What
all
about
will
you,
be
mate?
revealed.
Any
Oh,
youngsters?
look, I think I'd like to see Badlow rewarded. Popovich has been around the A League. He's had a really good look. I think he'll pick him. I think he'll take advantage of those players being out and just put him in there. And he probably won't see any game time, but I think we'll see him in the squad just around that training camp, just to show his style against some more senior players.
Yeah, and let's not forget too that like obviously we are working up towards the World Cup, but that Asian Cup is going to come up in January 27, pretty quick after the World Cup, without a lot of preparation, a lot of windows as well. So while all focus, rightly so, should be on the World Cup, you know, probably need to have in the back of our mind, the next phase of this Socceroos squad and what we're trying to build towards. If it is some young, fresh faces, this is the perfect chance to have a look.
Yep, definitely exciting times. We'll be eagle-eyeing out tomorrow. If it gets released tomorrow, I'm sure it will be, or early Saturday morning, and can't wait to break it down with you on Sunday night.
Sounds good, mate. Thanks everyone for your time this evening, and thank you, Mopper. As I said, we snuck this one in because there was just way too much happening midweek. Looking forward to an exciting weekend of football, and we'll be back on Sunday night to go through it all.
All the best for your teams on the weekend.